Hello and welcome to the 31st episode of This Week in Mappercraft's History. Last week was August 2nd to August 8th, and we'll be covering the years of 2015, 2017, 2022, and 2025. As always, all information here can be found on the Mappercraft wiki, which is linked in the description along with the server itself. Let's get into the years. First up, in 2015, the server was running Earthworld Revived, hosted by Monsoon Jr. In 2017, the server was running Earthworld 6, hosted by Xenodyne. In 2022, the server was running Earthworld Redux, hosted by Top. And finally, in 2025, last year, the server was running Brave New World Revisited, hosted by me, MintyMichael. Let's get into it. First up, we have a handful of events from August 2nd to the 8th, 2015, during Earthworld Revived, mostly on the 2nd. The first event is the beginning of the post-Foundation era, with this limited quote, which indicates that this era only actually lasted a little more than a week, so we'll see the rest of this era next week. Also on the 2nd, the Holy Bulgar Empire collapsed. Despite being a major player in the first weeks of the world, the large nation collapsed unceremoniously. According to the quote, the player Dusty Excalibur griefed the entire nation except Crimea. Thus, the Bulgarians chose to disband instead of rebuilding due to the severity of the damage. Following this, Crimea was formed as the only remaining nation out of Bulgaria. Several refugees from the Bulgarian collapse migrated over to Crimea, strengthening it quickly. According to the quote, though, the nation quickly removed much of its Bulgarian influence, developing a new flag, architectural style, and new language. Finally, for the last event of this week in 2015, on the 8th, the Livonis terror attacks continued, as according to the quote, the city was once again griefed, limiting the influence and stability of the Praetorian Order. But that marks the end for this week in 2015. Next up, we have 4 events from August 2nd to the 8th, 2017, during Earthworld Mark 6. First, on the 3rd, tensions between Araga and the PAU almost led to a breaking of their alliance. This was caused by Agnias, a high-ranking member of the PAU, refusing to leave Aragan territory. According to the quote, however, the leader of Araga, Skali, later took back the sort of breaking of their alliance, claiming that it was just a prank. Following this, on the 4th, India declared independence from Araga and joined Imperia, thus becoming part of Starin. This was due to their primary member, Extra, getting tired of being ridiculed by the other Aragans. According to the quote, though, India was granted 99% autonomy, with only 1% being controlled by Imperia and thus Starin by proxy, thus making them sort of an independent nation almost. Also on the 4th, the PAU annexed Madagascar after they went inactive for a week. Despite disputes previously, the quote doesn't list any complaints from Araga or Starim regarding this annexation. And finally, on the 8th, the Agnias resignation incident occurred in the PAU when cabinet members Doomshroom and Agnias 06 got into an unclear dispute. Eventually, this led to Agnias resigning as the Secretary of Defense and attempting to leave the nation. According to the quote, he had attempted to flee to Imperia. However, this was denied by the Imperians, probably not wanting to get involved in the dispute. But that marks the end for this week in 2017. Next up, we have a single event from August 2nd to the 8th, 2022, during Earthworld Redux. This was when, on the 2nd, the Juanese-Carmen War ended. This war began last week between the nation of Huan, formerly known as Bogsu, and the Caritian monarchy. According to the quote, the war ended in defeat for Huan, with Carmen completely annexing them and taking over their stuff. And nothing else happened this week in 2022. Finally, we have a handful of events from August 2nd to the 8th, 2025, last year during Brave New World Revisited. First, on the 2nd, the Armenian general election occurred. This wasn't an actual election, it was just sort of fake made up, because Armenia had a single player, but it was a fun sort of bit of lore development. I think Pib made up a whole fake parliament for it, but the quote just includes that it happened, so it's in here. Next, on the 3rd, the Lumen-Iskal War began when the nation of Lumen attempted to sort of third-party the ongoing war between Iskal and the pirates by declaring war on their own. However, later that same day, Iskal capitulated to both the pirates and Lumen. According to the quote, the pirates were the ultimate victors. Here's the the capitulation, and the pirates were the ultimate victors of that, taking over Iskal's settlement and disbanding it. Finally, for the last event from last week, on the 6th, the nation of South Baratonia was founded, a minorly relevant nation. Here's the quote for that. Once again, just says that they were founded. But this marks the end for this week in Brave New World Revisited. And this marks the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and check out the server at the link in the description. As always, if you have any additional information about any of these events, leave a comment down below or go ahead and add it to the Mappercraft wiki. See you next week for August 9th to the 15th.